You want their attention, right? But what if I told you the key to getting it is ignoring them? Cue a fast-paced montage of people glued to their phones, endlessly refreshing their social media, waiting for replies, likes, or some form of validation. A frustrated face looks at the screen, no notifications. Then, suddenly, when they throw the phone aside, the screen lights up with messages. The narrator chimes in. In today's world, attention is a game, and the ones who master it, they know when to pull back. This video will show you why the best way to get noticed is to stop trying so hard. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. A short comment can appreciate and support my work. Feel free to write feedback in the comments, or have you ever been in this situation? Then please let me know. Thank you. The attention crisis. A person sits in a crowded cafe, phone in hand, surrounded by people but completely disconnected. They're constantly scrolling, liking, posting, seeking validation, but finding nothing. We see the phone screen flash repeatedly with no notifications, no new messages. We live in a world where attention is the most valuable currency. Social media, endless notifications, quick replies, everything demands our focus. But here's the catch. With so much noise, most of us are just ignored. The scene shifts to a person constantly checking their phone, only to receive no response. Then, they put the phone down, look away for a moment, and suddenly, buzz. The notifications start coming in. Why does it always feel like the moment you stop caring, people finally notice? The truth is, we're all craving what we can't have, and nothing drives curiosity like being ignored. Cut to a quick shot of a group of people at a party. One person is loud, constantly seeking attention. No one really listens. Meanwhile, someone else stands quietly at the edge of the room, and slowly, people start gravitating toward them. The narrator breaks down the psychology behind it. Here's the thing. Humans are wired to desire what's just out of reach. The more available you are, the less valuable your attention becomes. In the age of instant gratification, what happens when you're not the one instantly responding? You become a mystery. The psychology of being ignored. The camera focuses on someone at a social gathering, constantly checking their phone. They send a message and stare at the screen, hoping for a quick response, but nothing happens. The narrator steps in with a calm but firm voice. Think about the last time you sent a message and got no reply. It probably drove you a little crazy, didn't it? You check your phone every few minutes, wondering why they haven't responded. That silence, it's loud, isn't it? The scene cuts to the message sender tossing their phone onto the couch, frustrated. A few hours later, when they pick it up, there's a flood of messages waiting for them. That feeling of wondering, why aren't they replying, isn't just frustration, it's curiosity, it's uncertainty. And those two things are powerful tools in the battle for attention. The pull of curiosity. We cut to a person reading an unfinished book, flipping back through pages, searching for answers. They're hooked by the mystery, driven by the need to know what happens next. Curiosity is one of the strongest psychological forces we have. When something isn't clear, when we don't have closure, our brain fixates on it. It's why you can't stop thinking about the person who left your message on read. It's why you crave their attention when they pull away. A split screen shows two people texting. One replies instantly every time, while the other takes hours or even days to respond. Slowly, the person who responds quickly starts being taken for granted, while the one who ignores becomes more and more intriguing. Understanding the balance. The narrator continues as the visuals shift to someone at work. They're bombarded by emails and messages. The more they reply immediately, the more people expect them to be available 24/7. Then they stop responding instantly, creating a gap. When you're always available, you're always expected to respond. But when you create space, you set boundaries. And here's the trick. Boundaries make people respect your time more. The same is true in relationships, in friendships, in everything. Cut to scenes of a person taking their time with responses, walking away from their phone or computer, engaging in other activities, and returning to find more people reaching out than before. This isn't about playing games. It's about recognizing the power of detachment. In a world where everyone is so accessible, being a little harder to reach makes you stand out. We see images of successful individuals, entrepreneurs, creators, influencers, who who don't immediately respond to every demand for their attention. Instead, they focus on their passions, and people naturally flock to them. So the next time you feel the urge to immediately respond, stop for a second. Remember, in today's world, the loudest person in the room rarely gets the most attention. It's often the one who knows how to hold back. Got it. Let's make the next chapter more emotionally charged, diving into relatable experiences so the audience can connect deeply with the message. The emotional roller coaster of ignoring and being ignored. The screen fades into a quiet room. A person sits on their bed, phone in hand, typing a heartfelt message. We hear their inner thoughts as they hit send. What if they don't reply? What if they don't care? They wait. Minutes feel like hours. The silence becomes suffocating. Their heart races with anxiety, flipping between hope and fear. We've all been there. That moment when you pour your heart out, only to be met with silence. You check your phone every few seconds, hoping, no, needing a response. But what if that silence isn't rejection? What if it's power? The camera shifts to another person, scrolling through their messages, pausing on the same heartfelt text. They hesitate, their thumb hovering over the reply button, but choosing not to respond immediately. The pain of being ignored. The narrator takes a somber tone, connecting with the audience's emotions. Being ignored can feel like the world is closing in, like you don't matter, like you've been forgotten. And in a way, that's why it works. Because when someone ignores you, it taps into something deeper, a fear of abandonment, of not being enough. We see a flashback of someone staring at their phone, eyes welling up with tears, memories flooding back of every time they felt unseen or unheard. These are the moments that shape us, that make us question our worth. But then, the scene shifts. Reclaiming control. The person wipes away their tears and sets their phone down. They stand up, look in the mirror, and take a deep breath. Slowly, they realize that being ignored doesn't define their worth. It's in this moment they regain control. But here's the truth they never tell you. Being ignored isn't a reflection of your value. It's a tool that, if you understand it, you can use to your advantage. When you stop begging for attention, when you stop waiting for someone to validate you, you take back your power. The person in the mirror smiles faintly. They walk away from their phone, stepping outside into the world, embracing life instead of waiting for a reply. Shifting the dynamic. The camera follows the same person as they begin to live fully, pursuing passions, meeting friends, focusing on themselves. And as they do this, notifications start to pile up, messages come through. The person they once waited for is now the one chasing them. The power dynamic has shifted. You see, the moment you stop letting silence crush you, the moment you stop needing their reply, that's when they start needing yours. Because when you stop seeking attention, you become the one they want to notice. Emotional payoff. The video cuts between people who once felt ignored, but now stand confidently on their own. The emotions of rejection and doubt fade into a sense of self-worth and inner strength. The music swells as the narrator concludes. We live in a world where everyone is screaming for attention, but the loudest voice is often the one that's silent. The one that knows their worth doesn't depend on anyone else, and that's when people start noticing. So, if you're tired of waiting for someone to see you, remember, the moment you stop waiting is the moment they'll start chasing. And in that silence, you'll find your power. The power of letting go. Opening scene. A close-up of someone standing by the window, phone in hand, staring out into the distance, clearly lost in thought. Their fingers tap restlessly on the screen as they fight the urge to send another message, to try one last time for a response. But then, they stop. They lock the phone and set it down. The moment is quiet, almost peaceful. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop trying to force something that isn't there. And in today's world, where everyone is chasing attention, the real strength comes from knowing when to walk away. The scene transitions to the same person taking a deep breath, putting on a jacket, and heading out into the world without their phone. The day unfolds in a montage of simple but fulfilling activities. Going for a walk, laughing with friends, working on a passion project. The freedom of emotional detachment. The narrator dives deeper, tapping into the emotions of the viewer. Letting go is one of the hardest things we can do, especially when we've been taught that attention equals love equals worth. But what if that attention you've been craving is the very thing holding you back from finding yourself? Cut to a person sitting in a cafe, phone on the table but untouched. They're smiling, deeply engaged in a conversation with someone across the table. The phone buzzes, but they don't even glance at it. The truth is, the more you cling to someone's attention, the more you lose sight of your own value. When you let go, truly let go, you find that you don't need their response, their validation. You become free to focus on the things that actually bring you joy. Think about it. How much time have you wasted waiting for someone to notice you? What could you have done with that time if you had let go earlier? When you shift your focus from seeking attention to finding purpose, everything changes. Applying detachment in everyday life. The camera cuts to someone making a conscious decision to ignore their phone for the day. Instead of waiting for messages, they go on a hike, take a dance class, or work on a creative project. The audience sees the transformation in their confidence and happiness as they reclaim their time and energy. Narration. Here's how you can start applying this today. Set boundaries with your time. Don't respond to every message immediately. Take time for yourself every day, away from notifications, away from distractions. Focus on what makes you happy, not what makes you feel validated. The camera follows people practicing these steps, finding peace in detachment. Slowly, the same people they once sought validation from begin to reach out to them, curious, intrigued. And when you stop seeking their attention, you'll notice something strange happens. They start seeking yours. The power dynamic shifts, but by then, you've already won, because your life isn't about them anymore, it's about you. Emotional payoff. The tone turns reflective, offering a moment of deep introspection. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing yourself. It means realizing that your worth isn't defined by who notices you, but by the person you become when you stop waiting for others to see you. The scene shows individuals, now more fulfilled and focused, walking confidently through their lives, no longer tethered to their phones or waiting for someone to give them attention. In the end, the most valuable attention you'll ever get is the attention you give to yourself. So let go of waiting, let go of chasing, and watch as the world comes to you. How ignoring shapes relationships and success. Opening scene. We open with a split screen. On one side, someone is still tethered to their phone, constantly checking for notifications, replying instantly, always available. On the other side, another person is confidently going through their day, focusing on their work, hobbies, and relationships, hardly ever glancing at their phone. The difference in their energy is clear. Narration. We've all been taught to believe that availability equals love, that constantly being there for someone makes you important in their life. But the truth is, it's the exact opposite. The more you prioritize yourself, the more others will respect you and value your time. The scene fades into real-life situations, work, friendships, and romantic relationships, showing how emotional detachment plays out. Relationships, giving space to create closeness. Scene 1. A romantic relationship where one partner is constantly available, replying immediately to texts, always initiating contact, always asking what the other person needs. The more they give, the more the other person pulls away, leaving them feeling drained and unappreciated. We think that by giving all of our attention, we're strengthening our relationships. But the truth is, attention without boundaries often leads to burnout on both sides. It's when you stop giving endlessly that real connection begins to grow. The scene transitions to the same person learning to set boundaries. They no longer feel the need to respond right away. They focus on their own happiness and personal space. Slowly, their partner begins to approach them, curious, wanting more of their time and energy. Friendships, respecting your time. A person is always the one initiating hangouts, sending texts, and checking in with friends. They feel exhausted, wondering why they're the only one putting in effort. But when they stop chasing after their friends and focus on their own life, something changes. The same friends begin reaching out to them more, wanting to know what's happening in their life. The more you respect your own time, the more others will start to respect it too. Friendships are built on mutual interest, not obligation. By stepping back, you give people the chance to choose you. The person smiles as they receive a text from a friend, unprompted for once. They've learned that letting people come to them creates stronger, more genuine connections. Work and success, valuing yourself to be valued. In a work setting, someone is constantly at their coworker's beck and call, always available for every email, every meeting, every request. They start to feel undervalued, overworked, and overlooked for promotions. In your professional life, constantly being available doesn't make you indispensable, it makes you invisible. People start taking your time for granted because you've given it away too freely. Cut to the same person, learning to prioritize their own work and setting boundaries. They no longer respond immediately to every email. Instead, they focus on high-value tasks, and in doing so, they start to stand out. Their boss notices their productivity, and suddenly they're being considered for a promotion. By valuing your own time, you teach others to value it too. And in the process, you start to stand out, not because you're always there, but because you've shown that your time is valuable. The ripple effect of detachment. The camera zooms out, showing multiple people reclaiming their lives by no longer seeking constant validation. They become more confident, more self-assured. In relationships, friendships, and work, people now come to them instead of them always chasing. This shift, this small act of stepping back, creates a ripple effect. When you stop giving all of your attention, when you set boundaries, something powerful happens. People start to notice. They start to value you in a way they never did before. The camera shows people thriving in their personal lives, happy, fulfilled, and no longer tied to their phones or waiting for someone's attention. The scene slows down as the narrator delivers a reflective thought. It's not easy. Letting go, stepping back, ignoring someone when all you want is to be seen. But in doing so, you create space for something much more important, your own self-worth. The camera shifts to a group of people sitting together, all staring at their phones, oblivious to the conversation happening around them. Then, we focus on one person who chooses to set their phone aside and engage with the people in front of them, laughing and making real connections. But the truth is, your worth doesn't live in a screen. It doesn't depend on how many people respond to your texts or like your photos. And the moment you stop chasing that kind of attention, you give yourself room to find the things that truly matter. Creating boundaries for your mental health. Scene 2. A person is in the middle of their workday, their phone buzzing non-stop with messages and notifications. Instead of reaching for it, they take a deep breath and flip the phone over, focusing fully on their work. Later, they step outside for a break, feeling more present and less overwhelmed by the constant noise of their phone. Narration. In order to maintain emotional detachment, you have to create boundaries, not just with other people, but with yourself. It's about setting limits on how much of your time and energy you give away and how much you keep for yourself. The camera follows the person as they go about their day, establishing healthy boundaries, setting specific times to check their phone, turning off notifications, and practicing mindfulness. These boundaries aren't just about protecting your time, they're about protecting your peace of mind. Because when you're always available, you're constantly letting other people's demands dictate your life. But when you create space for yourself, you regain control. Focusing on what fulfills you. Scene 3. The screen transitions to someone working on a creative project. Painting, writing, playing music, they're completely absorbed in what they love, and their phone sits forgotten on the table. This is a person who's learned to find fulfillment in their passions, not in the attention of others. One of the most important steps in making detachment a lifestyle is shifting your focus from what others think of you to what brings you joy. When you spend your time doing things that fulfill you, whether it's creating, learning, or just enjoying life, you stop craving attention because you're too busy being happy. The scene continues to show different people engaged in their passions, exercising, painting, cooking, spending time with loved ones. These are people who have learned that their happiness isn't tied to how much attention they get, but how much they invest in what truly matters. The emotional freedom of self-worth. We see a flashback of someone who once felt desperate for attention, checking their phone every few minutes, feeling anxious when there was no response. But now, we see the transformation. They're confident, happy, and free from the constant pull of their phone. They no longer need anyone else's validation. Here's the secret that no one tells you. When you stop needing other people's attention, you become unstoppable. Your worth doesn't come from who notices you. It comes from you knowing your own value. The camera focuses on different people, each one radiating confidence as they move through their day, smiling, interacting with others, but never feeling the need to constantly check their phones or chase after someone's attention. They've found freedom in their detachment, practical steps to make detachment a lifestyle. The video shifts to a more practical tone, showing quick cuts of people implementing small but powerful changes in their daily routines. Narration. So how do you make this mindset a permanent part of your life? Start small. Set specific times when you'll check your phone and stick to them. Create a daily routine that focuses on what makes you happy, not what makes you feel seen. And most importantly, practice detachment every day. We see someone writing in a journal, reflecting on their day, noting moments when they felt the urge to seek validation but chose not to. Slowly, this practice becomes second nature. Like anything else, emotional detachment takes practice. But with time, it becomes a habit, and that habit will change the way you live. Emotional payoff. The final scene shows different people standing at the edge of a beautiful landscape. Some by the ocean, some in the mountains, some in their own backyards. They're smiling, present, and peaceful. Their phones are nowhere in sight. They've found a way to live fully without constantly seeking attention. Narration. When you stop needing others to validate you, you find the freedom to live life on your own terms. And that's where real happiness begins. Emotional detachment isn't about pushing people away. It's about pulling yourself closer to what matters. So let go of the need to be seen and watch how your world transforms. Embrace your power of detachment. As we reach the end of this journey, it's clear that the world around us thrives on attention, noise, and constant connectivity. But in the midst of this chaos, we've uncovered a powerful truth. The key to capturing attention in today's fast-paced society lies not in chasing after it, but in choosing to step back. When you learn to detach from the incessant need for validation, whether through likes, comments, or immediate responses, you reclaim your time, your energy, and ultimately your identity. This journey is about recognizing that your worth is not determined by others. It's about finding strength in your own silence, confidence in your independence, and joy in your own pursuits. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone, every moment you prioritize your passions over notifications, you reinforce a crucial lesson. You are enough, just as you are. You've learned to invest in yourself, to nurture your own happiness, and in doing so, you create a magnetic energy that draws others in without effort. Now it's your turn to put this into practice. Start small. Set boundaries with your time and attention. Embrace moments of silence. Focus on what brings you joy and fulfillment. Allow yourself to be seen as you are, not through the lens of social media or the constant validation of others, but through the strength of your own self-worth. Join this movement of emotional detachment and self-discovery. Share your journey with others. Encourage those around you to step back, to find their own power in silence. Together, we can redefine what it means to connect in a world that often prioritizes noise over meaning. Embrace this change, reclaim your attention, and watch as the world not only notices you, it respects you.